Why, in all the Star Wars universe, does Grand Admiral Thrawn appear to be incompetent in Star Wars Rebels and in the Ahsoka series? Well, that's what we're going to get into today. And before we start down the dark path that is Grand Admiral Thrawn, I just want to remind everybody that this is a Star Wars fanatic channel, not Star Wars It's Okay or Star Wars is Mediocre. This is Star Wars fanatic, meaning I have a love for Star Wars, and every video I produce is reflective of that. I don't talk about the negative stuff. I don't talk about the stuff I really don't like. Not much. I do when I do my reviews, but in these in-depth videos, I don't do that. So if you're looking for that, this video is probably not for you. So why don't I talk about the negative stuff that I don't like? Well, because it's not worth my energy for the first reason. And the second reason is because there are plenty of YouTube channels out there that will do that. And they will agree with you. And they will claim to love Star Wars, yet hating on it at the same time. I love Star Wars, and I'm not going to sit here and bash it. That's just not what I do. And while there are some things that don't sit well in my stomach with the things Disney and Lucasfilm do, I do try to make sense of what they've done. And it works for me. It may not work for you, but it works for me. Now, let's get on with it. So, with the novels, however many, there's 6 new canon novels and I believe 3 old canon novels, or expanded universe novels, of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and he is depicted as this military genius that can conquer any situation and come out ahead every single time. So why is it in Star Wars Rebels and in the Ahsoka series Thrawn does not come out ahead? Well, in the Ahsoka series he kind of did come out ahead. He escaped Peridia and he's on his way to the regular galaxy, or the OG galaxy, or Galaxy Prime if you want to call it that. So he kind of did succeed, but there's no reason in that. Not that I've given you anyway. And there's a long discussion going on my Discord about Thrawn and how he's being portrayed. And I have interacted quite a few times on it because I love the character. So I'm going to take some of what I've said in the Discord and what some of other people have said in the Discord as well to explain why Thrawn looks incompetent in Rebels and Ahsoka. We got to go back to the novels, especially the Thrawn Alliances novel, where Thrawn works together with Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker. Well, it's only a brief interaction with Anakin Skywalker, one mission to help save Padme, and they were successful. Thrawn gained a lot of insight into Anakin Skywalker and how the Jedi behave. And what he learned was that with Anakin Skywalker, although Anakin is a general of the Grand Army of the Republic, he does not act in a traditional militaristic view. In other words, throw all books out the window because all sort of game plan for a militarized operation are gone. Jedi are brash. And Jedi are able to act outside of the normal rules of engagement in a militaristic view, because they have something that military commanders do not: the Force, a power that lets them be as brash as they want or as inconsistent as they want and go after a target even alone, because they have this power that can help them overcome anything. Okay, almost anything, but you get what I'm saying. Jedi are unpredictable. So a lot of what Thrawn uses to his advantage is his knowledge of art, sciences, and behaviors, and so on and so forth. But when you have an unpredictable opponent, it's hard to predict, because it's unpredictable, how that opponent is going to react to certain situations and certain things going on around them. So we move on to Star Wars Rebels, where Thrawn made his first television debut. Finally. Man, it only been 30-something years? Anyways, so Thrawn is seen as incompetent in Rebels because he can't defeat the Rebel cell on Lothal. Okay, I'll give you that. But wait, Thrawn did have his successes in Star Wars Rebels. And the most major success he had was finding the Rebel base on Atollon and running the Rebels off of that base, scattering them once again. Yes, true, he killed the Bendu, and that's pretty sad. Shouldn't just go killing things that want to be left alone. Poor guy. And yes, I know Bendu isn't dead. He just transformed into something else. Anyway, so who was he going against in Atollon? Well, there were a couple Jedi, and there were also the entire Rebel fleet. Now, who's going to have the controlling say in that adversarial situation? Well, it's going to be the Rebel fleet. So it's a larger cell. He was able to predict what that militaristic mindset was going to do, and he was able to overcome it. Now you go back to Lothal. All of his failures were around the Lothal area. So who was he up against at those times? Well, primarily Jedi. Unpredictable Jedi. Now, Jedi don't sit around doing arts and crafts. Okay, so there's nothing he can study with that. And Jedi are not raised in a typical military background, military training, so on and so forth. They don't go to any kind of military academy. They stay in their own Jedi academy. An academy that teaches peace above all else and avoid a fight as much as possible, where a military background would teach you go after them and hit them strategically. Fight, in other words. Okay, so I'm going to break it down for you a little simpler than I have in the last few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just read what I put on the Discord, and it goes like this. I think part of the issue with how Thrawn has been portrayed by Dave Filoni is that Thrawn doesn't know how to combat a Jedi. For all we know, the only Jedi Thrawn had known was Anakin Skywalker, and they worked well together. In both live action and animation, he failed against the Rebels when a Jedi was majorly involved. However, he was slightly victorious when a Jedi wasn't on the other side as the predominant adversary. His failures also weren't his own. In the Chiss Ascendancy, they worked together for a common outcome. In the Empire, most ranking officers were out for their own glory. For example, Price and Scarus. After reading the novels, we see Thrawn as this military genius, and rightfully so. But the novels only gaze the surface of his level of understanding of Force users. They're unpredictable, so naturally he will be made to look incompetent when faced against them. This is something he should have taken note of from the Clone Wars. At least the Separatists had a basic understanding of how to fight Jedi, with slight success, I may add. Now, I want to read the next bit that came from Skywalker's Academy, and thank you for this comment. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. He succeeded where others worked together. He succeeded where others failed. Use of art and culture as a tactic. Whoever thought of that? Oh yeah, Zahn. And he didn't succeed whenever Jedi were involved unless they were on his side. They're so unpredictable. Most of the ones in his era, which weren't many, were brash and did the least expected things to solve a situation. They really don't do art. They don't really have a culture aside from the ancient teachings. He is getting better at it, I assume combating Jedi, but they slowed him down. People complain about how he was portrayed, but Dave Filoni's on the money. And there you have it. That is my discussion that we had on Discord about why Grand Admiral Thrawn seems so incompetent in Rebels and Ahsoka. It's the Jedi. The Jedi are tripping him up. He doesn't know how to predict them because they are unpredictable. And here's a little bit of a warning. I'm going to get into a little bit of a rant here for just a second. If this reasoning doesn't sit well with you and you still think that, it's BS, that how Thrawn was treated and so on and so forth, then I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, you probably lack reasoning skills and logic. Not meaning to be disrespectful or anything, but there's also the fact that a lot of people just want to hate the new Star Wars stuff because it's trendy and fun. Well, some of us are getting tired of it, and you can see that in some of the message boards on Facebook, Twitter, and all kinds of other stuff where people are starting to come out now and talk about how much they're tired of people hating on Star Wars just because it's fun. You don't like it, you don't like it. So on, go on, live with it. It's there. You don't have to watch it, but you also don't have to berate people who do watch it and do enjoy it. That's just my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. But before I go, don't forget to check out my other channel called Storytime. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's where I tell spooky stories, not of a Star Wars nature at all. I might have mentioned Star Wars like twice in a video, and that's about it. So go check it out. Links in the description. This is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars community can be the only way.